Our story began in a small village named Argonaut, where most of the group had met. Mesmer, Sora, Zarias, and Era all met at the Tower Pub, where they spent a few hours talking alongside, observing the shenanigans of Zarias before encountering a group of drow from a strange land. The group was unfortunately killed by the drow, but woke up in a strange hallway. At the end of it stood a strange old man, bound at the wrists and ankles by golden chain. He made an offer to the group. In exchange for helping him get free of his chains, they would be given a second chance at life, but had only 10 days to find the 4 artifacts that would free him from his bondage. The group, now working together, had decided to make their way down the long stairway that they had found themselves at the top of, hoping to find the first artifact. While down there, they met the rest of the group, being Tegan, Selena, and Drogskull. The first 2 of which looking for historical artifacts for Tegan, and the third, searching for the warlock who had previously traveled with the group, Cormac. After finding a group of zombies and coming across a book in a language that the group couldn't read, Cormac seemingly became possessed by his arcane focus. He told the group of a vision he had seen, the fall of man, the rise of dark gods. At the end, the group had no choice but to kill him, taking the focus as the first artifact. After handing over the focus to the old man, the group made their way to Valmara, a town nearby, whereupon they met an orphan named Feyre. She told Drogskull about a life she had faced, enraging him. She mentioned a group of people, bounty hunters, maybe, called the Snatchers, an underground ring of criminals who took children from their families in the middle of the night in exchange for money. Along the way, Feyre had gotten kidnapped, and Mesmer, and in wrappings, agreed to come along and keep an eye on her. Alongside Selena, Mesmer managed to break Feyre out without alerting anyone, and once he landed with the group, they made it all the way back to Valmara. Once in the town, the group went to the orphanage that Feyre had claimed to come from, encountering Akiva, the wizard who had taught her magic. After a discussion about the Snatchers at the tavern that night, the group and Akiva parted ways, the former coming up with a plan to get the Snatchers out of the orphanage. After the discussion, Drogskull regained part of his memory, lost in his service to his god. He became aware of the atrocities he committed, and destroyed his symbol, breaking his oath and resulting in a loss of his divine power in favor of a more infernal oath. As part of this, his true form was regained, no longer a red dragon serving some dark god, now a black one, seeking to atone for his sins. The next morning, the group, minus Tegan and Feyre, went to the orphanage to attempt to remove the Snatchers. Once down there, the group encountered Akiva, who had been bound and tortured by the Snatchers, as punishment for his helping the group. And after a small battle, they rescued him. Returning to the inn where they were, Akiva told them about a group that he was working with, called the Celestial Hand, went to combat Vecna. Using the map the group had found, they went to the City of Glass, otherwise known as Vasselheim. Once the group was settled, they went to the Nightshade Brewery, where they were immediately hit with a spell, a fireball no less, by a tabaxi sorcerer named Vale, of whom Zarias had a history with. After a brief apology and explanation, Vale explained more about the Celestial Hand and the rise of Vecna. Once the explanation was over, the group left the brewery behind, hearing screams down the street. As they entered the streets, they came across a group of undead covered in blue boils, later identified as blue rot, a hideous disease, giving each member of the group a hallucination. Mesmer, after being healed, took Selena with her to find out more about Ezra and Varden Lexilus, a pair of nobles, quite well off, who had been meddling in the local Mages Academy. The two found out about the connection the group had with Madame Isa Ruvik, the headmistress of the Abundant Terrace, and the connection between the three of them and Vecna. A day passes, and Zarias receives a letter from an anonymous person telling him that he's causing too much trouble, and that as punishment, Vale, his mentor, will be sacrificed to Vecna's undead beast in the heart of the sewers. To prove these threats true, a piece of Vale's ear came with the letter as well. Not wanting this to occur, the group made their way to the sewers, finding a monster of Vecna's creation, a beholder wrapped in the claws of undeath. After the fight, the party met with the heads of various churches in Vasselheim, searching for a cure to blue rot in the current situation of Vecna's rise. Against Mesmer's wishes, Drogskull tells the churches about the upcoming return of Vecna, and with the help of Akiva, the leaders managed to make a cure, which is used on the citizens affected, allowing the gates to be opened. The group, taking Vale's recommendation to heart, made their way south towards Dupree Manor, making a stop first to finally rescue Mesmer's mother from a cave-in where she'd been trapped for quite some time. Along the way south, they came across a group of snatchers heading in the same direction. They killed most, leaving one named Darville, who gave a key to a map they'd received and information on the king and his possible ties to Vecna. He was released and told to spread the good word, shall we say. As he continued to head south towards a town called Alvist, the party comes across a fire ganassi named Agni, who requests that they head to his shop for items before going, as it'll be suicide otherwise. After receiving their generous gifts, the party heads to Durhee Manor, which after several fights, they make their way through a portal and to a familiar-looking hallway. After a fight most brutal and most ineffective on their part, the group is ejected from the portal, only too late realizing that Selena was missing, trapped in a cage by a spell weaved by the dark god Vecna. Too late, and they realized their friend had been sacrificed to bring him back. The Raven Queen, Drugskull's goddess and matron, brought the group into her domain for safety, telling Drugskull that there was another path for Selena, and that she would return when needed most. Days passed, and she returned, coming to Mesmer's side during the breakdown. From there, the party then went west towards the Wildlands, coming across a group of guards driving a wagon. After defeating the guards, they found out that Drugskull's wife, Domini, was located in the salt mines. Among the prisoners, they found a handmaiden of Domini's, who alerted them that she was most likely in the salt mines of a nearby town, working alongside criminals at hard labor. After searching through the mine, and finding a secret closet, Drugskull and his wife were reunited. She joined the group heading south, while Domini sent her people north, towards the homeland of Tegan, Haven. The party went back on the road to the Wildlands, upon which they discovered that the clan was being decimated by a strange monster, undead in nature, perhaps some form of experiment or long-forgotten, deceased deity. And this is where our story picks up. We'll see you next time on Heralds of Chaos. Thanks for listening.